My name is Ashley. I'm the social media coordinator for the Swinburne Education and Teaching Society, and this is our Real Talk series. Today we're talking with Erin Wilson, who is a secondary and VC visual arts teacher. So my first question for you is, what inspired you to go into education?
So originally I had never ever thought about it, and I can't remember if I've mentioned this to you before, but I actually came from a family of teacher haters. So growing up in a country town, you're not necessarily super popular when you're a teacher, but so I just hadn't even crossed my mind. And then my year 12 teacher actually said to me, "You're helping everyone else all the time. Are you going to do teaching when you go to uni?" Because everyone knew I always wanted to go to art school. So and so it was funny how I just had never even considered it, and that was enough to plant a seed. And then when I did my visual arts course, I was very disillusioned about it by the end of that. And the DipEd was always in the back of my mind, because back then obviously the qualifications were different. And then when I did it, I just really liked it. Just out of the blue, had no expectations. I think I just liked being able to talk about my subject all the time. And stuff like that. And I think it sort of made me realise too, I liked learning at school. I always loved school, but it was the learning I liked. It wasn't just one particular subject. So to pick up skills all the time in the job. And I think that long term, looking back, was part of the appeal as well.
Well, that's great. And so what was the biggest surprise for you coming into the industry?
Probably that it brought out so much confidence for me. So I would have said I was quite shy when I was younger, really low confidence. And I think obviously it forces you into a situation where you're in charge, and that doesn't always come naturally for people. And you're responsible for others and all of that sort of thing. But I think probably the impact it had on me in my personal life though too, in regards to articulating myself, just being more confident, probably didn't understand before teaching that it's a very collegiate kind of environment, like you are in a big team. And that's whether that's in with other teachers and the staff, or whether that's with the kids. I don't think you ever get used to the workload. It's very negative. It's pretty full on. I can remember my teaching rounds. I was still working part-time too, so I would go home and go to bed at 8:30 every night of my teaching rounds. So,
it's tiring.
And I reckon nearly every student teacher I've had, well, I shouldn't say that, I should say pre-service, shouldn't I? Pre-service teacher I've ever had has said to me that it's so full on, because it's just, you're on all the time. Your brain is just on all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
That's probably the two things I think that stay with you, and they just stay with you as well the whole time. So.
Cool. So my last question is there any advice or anything you'd want pre-service teachers to know?
I think always go in with an open mind. And I think at the start, really kind of have your head around the fact that you don't know what kind of teacher you're till probably about your third or fourth year.
Okay.
And then I think what keeps me going is probably the same what I talked about before, in that you're always learning. And a lot of the rhetoric through schools these days is that if we're not good learners, we can't possibly teach kids how to be that way. I think you need to be super flexible, and you've just got to get used to that life of thinking on the fly. Even though you need the plan, but there's always got to be, well, what's my response? And unfortunately a bit of that experience does build that up for you. But I think, and just balancing knowing how to look after yourself. It's a great job, and I really don't, when I'm feeling romantic, I know that I will never do anything else. Really. I am a crazy lifelong teacher, I know that, and but it was something I never would have picked years ago. But you do really, to have that kind of longevity, even though you love your kids and you want the best for everybody, at the same time when you go home, you look after you, and you might have homework or whatever, but marking, blah. But be careful about how you look after you as well.
Well, that was really good advice. Thank you for your time and all your responses. Thank you.
You're welcome.